The name atma-vichara is only for always keeping the mind on oneself, on atma. When he says when the name atma-vichara is only for this, he means this is atma-vichara. The atma-vichara is nothing other than always keeping our mind on ourselves. What does it mean when we talk about keeping our mind on something? For example, in a classroom, if students, their mind is wandering, the teacher will say, put your mind on the subject we're discussing. That means your attention on it. Keeping the mind on something is keeping our attention on it, or putting the mind on something means putting our attention on it. So what Bhagavan is clearly and unambiguously implies in this sentence is that atma-vichara is nothing other than always being self-attentive, always keeping our attention on ourselves. So what does it mean to keep our attention on ourselves? For this, we need to understand Bhagavan's teachings a little bit more broadly. So long as we take ourselves to be any of the 5 sheaths, that is the physical body, the life that animates the physical body, in other words, the prana, the mind that operates in it. In this context, mind means the grosser functions of the mind, the intellect, and the will. These are called the 5 sheaths, panchakosha. We are not any of these things. All these things are objects known by us. We are the subject, the knower of all these objects. So though we seem to be all these 5 sheaths, if we consider the matter carefully, we are not any of these, because these appear and disappear, but we always remain. So whatever appears and disappears cannot be ourself. Anything in whose absence we are aware of ourself is not ourself. So we are not any of these 5 sheaths. We are the knower of these 5 sheaths. We are the subject. So whereas these 5 sheaths are constantly changing, we are unchanging. When I say we here, we need to there's a further distinction we need to make. But we need to make this distinction. We need to clearly understand this distinction. That is, that which identifies itself as the 5 sheaths is not the pure awareness that we actually are. It is ego. So what is the relationship between ego and pure awareness? Ego is what we seem to be. Pure awareness is what we actually are. So the relationship between ego and pure awareness is like the relationship between the illusory snake and the rope that it actually is. There are not 2 things there. There's not a snake and a rope. There's only one thing. The one thing that is actually there is a rope, but it seems to be a snake. Likewise, what actually exists is only pure awareness. But now we are not experiencing ourselves as pure awareness because we have risen as ego. Pure awareness is the awareness I am, whereas ego is the same awareness I am mixed and conflated with adjuncts, as I am this body, I am this bundle of 5 sheaths. So the ego, bereft of adjuncts, is pure awareness. So ego and pure awareness are not 2 different things. The difference between ego and pure awareness is not a difference in vastu. It's not a difference in the substance. It's a difference in appearance only. So when Bhagavan says we need to keep our mind on ourselves or keep our attention on ourselves, some people ask, what is the self that he's referring to? Is it ego or is it our real self? This question shows a lack of understanding, because it's like supposing we are walking with Bhagavan along a path through a forest in the dim light of dusk. We see something lying on the path ahead of us, which looks to us like a snake. Bhagavan assures us it is not a snake, it's only a rope. But we're still afraid, because to us it still looks like a snake. So Bhagavan knows that the only way to dispel our fear is for us to actually see it as it is. So he will say, it's just a rope. Look at it carefully and see. If we ask him, which it should we look at? Should we look at the snake or at the rope? He will obviously say, look at the snake. Because in our view, it seems to be a snake. But what it actually is only a rope. If we look at the snake carefully enough, we will see that it is just a rope. Likewise, if we attend to ourselves carefully enough, now before we attend to ourselves, we seem to be ego. That rising eye that identifies itself as this bundle of 5 sheaths called body. That's what we seem to be. But what we actually are is pure awareness. So if we attend to ourselves carefully enough, we will see that we are not what we now seem to be, namely this ego, but we are just pure awareness, which is what we always actually are. This is why I say, to understand the practice correctly, we need to understand the teachings correctly. If we don't understand the metaphysical principles that Bhagavan is teaching us, we will not understand the practice correctly.